All right, well, we got first and second covered. Let's load up the bases, and Erik, go back to you here. We need your favorite either run line or money line bet tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Marlins over the Cardinals. They're at even odds, plus 100 last I checked. And that's mostly because Trevor Rogers, as Garion talked about earlier, I'm just all in on him. I've liked him since the beginning of the year, though can't pretend that I expected this. I didn't expect a 2.02 ERA. But even last year, in his 7-start debut, when his ERA was north of 6, that xFIP was at 367 because he struck out 30% of opposing batters. This year, 29.8%, basically the same thing, while trimming a bit off his walk rate. Hasn't given up more than 3 runs in any of his 13 starts, and has given up 3 earned runs just once. So he's a legitimate top-tier pitcher already. Versus Kwang Hyun Kim, who had a 1.62 ERA last year, but didn't look like he deserved it at all. The ERA estimator is way above that. xFIP had him at 4.52. Thanks in large part to his 15.6% strikeout rate. He does have that strikeout rate over 20% this year, but just barely, and not necessarily elite in other areas. So I don't think that adds up to much more than a mid-rotation starter. So big advantage to Rogers there. And the lineups are actually tied for 19th with a 92 WRC plus, which surprised me. I would have guessed the Cardinals were above by a bit. So when you get that big advantage to Rogers with equal lineups, I think this is pretty clear Marlins.
All right, Nick, what do you think?
I'm going to go A's run line tonight against the Angels, in part because I want to fade Haney after he's had a couple good starts, and he can run into control issues at times. And some of the A's hitters have good numbers against him, and the A's in general are hitting well against left-handed pitching over the last couple of weeks. Are top 10 in OPS. But also, I want to get on the Frankie Montas train. I know if you look at, just look at his ERA, that's going to push people away because he's got an ERA over 4. But that's all because of April. He's been knocking that down progressively since the start of May. And I know he gave up 4 runs against the Angels last time, but those were all unearned runs. And I understand for the sake of run line, money line doesn't necessarily count, but in the sense of those runs are not on him. So I expect him to come out and perform a little bit better. And it's not like he faced them last time out. So there's been some space since he last saw them too. And he's been, so I want to get in on Frankie Montas. So that's what I'm going to do it tonight. We go on the A's run line.
Garion, that leaves you, my friend.
Yeah, maybe this is more of a stay away spot, but I am not a smart man. So I am going to take the Pirates at plus 148 on the money line. This really just has a lot to do with the Nationals not being deserving of being as heavy favorites as they are tonight. The Nationals come into Tuesday's slate 2-6 in their last 8 home games. They're 1-4 in their last 5 games as a favorite. The Nationals are not a good team, and Patrick Corbin has not been a good pitcher so far this season. He's got a 6.54 expected ERA, while Tyler Anderson hasn't been amazing, but he's been about league average. He's been dependable, and he's been one of the Pirates' best starters in 2021. He's got a 4.40 expected ERA. So it seems like the pitching matchup leans, I would say, heavily towards the Pirates. And then you start looking at these two lineups. Yes, the Nationals have done pretty well against left-handed pitching so far this season. The Pirates have not. However, Brian Hayes is back for the Pirates, and all he has done throughout his career is absolutely crush left-handed pitching. Brian Reynolds hits left-handed pitching really well. Jacob Stallings can hit lefties. So I think the Pirates can do enough on offense to get some runs off of the struggling Patrick Corbin. And I think Tyler Anderson does enough to keep this game close. So I just think this line is way too lopsided, and I will take the plus money with the Pirates.